Ciao everyone, it's Ian again, and here we're talking about an Italian grape variety in my Iran grape series. This is another native grape, a rare one called Molinara. Molinara was actually very abundant once. It's a typical grape of Veneto, but it's less common today because it's one of those grapes that gives very pale red wines, very light-bodied, high-acid wines that really in the 1980s and 1990s had lost all appeal at a moment in time when people were looking for very dark, even black tinged wines with lots of structure, maybe even a little residual sweetness and very low acidity. So Molinara was unfortunately out of fashion at the time, and it was uprooted because even if it had been used in blends, producers were worried it would have a dilutional effect and therefore not be it wouldn't be really a positive contribution to the wine that they were trying to make. That was a sad time, I think, in wine, because people were looking at wine outside of its natural context, which is the dinner table. You want wines that will marry well with food, and for that, a relatively medium-bodied wine with lots of acidity is often ideal. It's not that you can't have a big, full-bodied wine, of course, but I think there was a certain point in time when we were exaggerating with wines that maybe tasted good in a tasting room, but that nobody in his right mind would ever want to drink at the dinner table. Molinara used to be a very famous grape. It was already mentioned in 1824 and 1877 by some really important luminaries in Italian grape studies, such as Di Rovazenda, and they mentioned that Molinara wines were of high quality and very abundant. But as I mentioned, it was a grape that was literally phased out because it tends to give these pale colored red wines, high in acid and not much body. Molinara has very big berries and they're actually translucent when you look at them. Lots of juice. And the one thing that Molinara does do, which is fantastic, is it adds salinity and spice to a red wine. So when you have Molinara in 10, 15, 20, 30%, your red wine becomes a little bit lighter because of all the juice that Molinara will bring and the lack of tannins, but also you get a little bit of salt and you get a little bit of spice. So Molinara actually does contribute something to a wine blend. And of course Molinara was most important in the wine blends of Bardolino and Valpolicella and Amarone. Today, Molinara has been really eradicated from most of these areas. It's a shame because it was especially great on the sandy soils of Bardolino, and Bardolino was really the ultimate everyday table wine, so Molinara had a role there. Like all these native grapes that once were abundant and then disappeared, Molinara is now making a comeback because its wine is super interesting and people are actually making sparkling wines from it now, and many people realize that Amarone, for example, at 17% alcohol, is a tough thing to swallow these days, so little Molinara is not a bad thing at all. Those who still have it use it, those who don't have it are maybe thinking of planting it again. So Molinara, a beautiful little grape. The name comes from mulino, or mill, because the mill is where you use flour to make bread. And if you look at a Molinara grape, because of its bloom, it has a dusty look, very much as if the grape has been dusted in flour. So Molinara from Mulino, beautiful little grape, hopefully making a comeback. Seems to be making a comeback. I couldn't be happier. I love Molinara, and I look for Molinara mono variety wines as much as I can. And the good news is that you can start to find more and more. Locally, they've always been made, but now they're starting to gain some international footing as well, and that's great. Molinara, try it. You'll like it.